A close-up look at tire crumb rubber synthetic turf. Tire crumb rubber synthetic turf is used for athletic fields, as well as children's playground surfaces. Over 25% of the chemical ingredients used to make each tire are introduced as microscopic nanoparticles. Using an electron microscope reveals the tire crumb's ultrafine particles, which are invisible to the naked eye. Zooming back reveals the tiny particles. Their sharp, jagged edges can get stuck in the deepest recesses of the lungs, as well as lodged in the folds of the gastrointestinal tract. The smaller particles are the size of fine dust, smaller than a human hair, which is approximately 1/10 of a millimeter thick. In contrast, the individual tiny hash marks shown here on the microscope slide are only 1/100th of a millimeter apart. Continuing to zoom out, we now begin to also see the larger tire crumb particles that can be seen with the naked eye. The circle seen here on the microscope slide is approximately 4 millimeters in diameter. Even the largest tire crumb particles are still only the size of a grain of sand. Tire crumb particles contain hundreds of chemicals. Some have been found to cause cancer, as well as acting as mutagens and developmental and reproductive toxic agents. Additionally, tires also pick up chemicals from the road environment, including lead. Hundreds of tons of tire crumb particles are spread over the top of each plastic athletic synthetic turf installation. Workers often try to prevent breathing in the dust by wearing respiratory masks. During practices and games, athletes repeatedly tread upon the tire crumb, which stirs up the tire crumb dust, while at the same time crushing it into even finer particulates. The finer particulates can remain suspended in the air for long periods of time. The tire crumb particles can enter the human body through inhalation, ingestion, through the skin, through open cuts, as well as other means. During times of physical exertion, an athlete's inhalation intake can increase from 6 liters per minute to up to 10,000 liters per minute. The sharp edges of the particulates allow them to potentially irritate as well as lodge in the gastrointestinal tract, as well as the upper respiratory tract. The tiny particulates can find their way into the smallest parts of the respiratory tract, where they can become entrapped for extended periods. Athlete positions such as soccer goalies that experience the highest exposures to the tire crumb particles have been the first to show coincidental instances of cancer. The immune systems of infants and children are especially vulnerable to tire crumb particle intake and its chemical impacts, even during passive activities. In conclusion, the variable makeup of tire crumb particles makes chemical exposures and their impact on an individual's health unpredictable.